9:15, it's the morning show with Jeff and Will here on AM 1700 WRCR, Haverstraw, WRCR.com. Hey, if you want to know what's going on in the business world in Rockland County, all you have to do is check out rcbizjournal.com. And lo and behold, we have the editor of said website right here with us this morning, as she is every morning on Mondays at 9:15. It's Tina Trasser. Good morning, Tina. How you doing?
Good morning, Rockland Land. Happy President's Day. It's not an unusual one. Wanted to first share some good news. There's an organization called FeedSpot, which categorizes global media outlets and content creators in order to make them easier to discover and follow and contact. And this global organization has ranked Rockland County Business Journal number 7 in the top 10 New York business magazines in 2025.
Nice. Ooh. What's the name of this group again? What's the name of this group?
It's called FeedSpot, and they're a global organization. And I can tell you that the number 5, for example, is one of my alma maters, which is Crane's New York Business. Number 6 is the Central New York Business Journal. I guess that's upstate. Oh, yeah, that's upstate, Syracuse, Binghamton. And then there we are, number 7, Rockland County Business Journal. So
Nice.
Very excited about that, and just wanted to share that wonderful news that Rockland County has made it onto a pretty big map.
Nice.
The coverage that it's doing.
I'm sure it'll be renamed at some point, but good for you in the meantime.
What do you mean renamed?
The map, something on it will be renamed.
He's making a Gulf of
It's
Mexico
a Gulf
joke.
of America joke.
He's been
yes,
doing
yes,
that a lot
yes.
this morning.
Yeah.
No, okay, the Gulf of Rockland County Business News Journal. Yes, got it. Or wait, better. The red, white, and blue. What was the latest one for Greenland?
Red, white, and blue land, yeah.
It's
Blue.
Yeah.
yeah, just to keep track of all of the nonsense.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. But speaking of something that is interesting, which we posted today, is a story about a franchise that's planning to bring indoor pickleball clubs to Rockland, Bergen, and Westchester. Don't know if you saw the piece, but this is a company called Dill Dinkers, and they are a franchise.
Dill Dinkers?
Yeah.
Okay,
Dill, I guess, playing on pickle.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, right.
And then Dinkers has to do with some sort of a move in pickleball.
I would imagine it's like a short shot that like kind of just dinks over the net. That's my guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So as the pastime, and as it's exploded into a national pastime, there are prescient developers and franchisers who are now saying, well, let's make this a year-round sport. It makes sense. It's think about tennis or squash or other sports that have been taken indoors into climate-controlled environments and have been paired with other entertainment aspects. So pickleball makes sense. But if you look around in Rockland, basically we have towns proliferating pickleball courts. But I think that this would be, if this franchise is likely to get there first, this is what their goal is to have pickleball courts in, they're looking at, let's say, unused warehouses or big retail spaces. So we specifically did a story about a group here in Rockland County that is, they're called the AGM Pickleball Clubs LLC, and basically it's a group of 3 siblings, the Fiala siblings, who've been running the preschool at Playhouse in Blauvelt, which is a company founded by their parents in the 1970s, and they all bring, some kind of business experience to this project. And they've been named by Dill Dinkers as the regional developers for the 3 counties, as I mentioned. And so they will have the exclusive rights, and right now they are tasked with opening up a flagship location, which Adam Fiala told us he would like it to be in Rockland because he's a Rockland boy, and then 19 other additional franchises. And this is very interesting, I think, at many levels. One is that, of course, we have plenty of empty, spaces, and they're actually warehouses that are fallow, that aren't being used. Two, it's a new kind of industry, and three, it expands pickleball, which, by the way, is not just for the gray-haired set. Apparently, this sport is now ranges from the youngest to the oldest, and has really, gained traction. According to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association, for example, the sport grew almost 52% from 2022 to 2023, and then jumped more than 200% over 3 years. So it's catching on. It's catching on with kids. It's catching on with people in their midlife and older people. This is a clever real estate endeavor to be looking, to open franchises here in the region, here in the county. They told us that they're scouting for either 15,000 square foot spaces or 30,000 square foot spaces, and buildings with 18 feet, and then also buildings where columns are not obstructing the open space that they would need to create the courts. And as I said, he said, ideally we'd like to be located centrally in Rockland, maybe in West Nyack or New City or North Rockland. This was, one of the brother who we interviewed. So opportunity out there for real estate industry, landlords that are struggling with empty retail chains, not to mention empty mall spaces and unoccupied warehouses. I should think that there's lots of opportunities for them to do this, and I think it's an interesting real estate endeavor, and so check out that story because I think that's pretty interesting. Any questions?
I haven't delved into the whole pickleball thing, so it doesn't mean much to me. But have you done the pickleball thing, or do you think there's a value of bringing it indoors all year round?
I absolutely think so.
But are you into it? Have you played? Are you a novice to it, or never played it? I've never played it before at all.
No, I was a long time tennis player. I've certainly observed that it seems to be very popular. And another point of the story, and I'll raise this here, it also seems to be very social. It's the kind of thing that, where it's creating groups and leagues, and it gives people something to join in on, and it's active. So, I've spent a lot of time down in Delaware, and I've seen it everywhere down there, and in Virginia. I've seen it in the Mid-Atlantic states when I've traveled a lot during the spring and summer. Here, I know that the towns are investing in this for outdoor courts, and that's all good and well. But the advantage, I guess, of the indoor facility is that it's year round. That it's often is paired with some kind of, sometimes like food or some kind of social gathering places, and the leagues. That people form bonds, and it becomes a little community within the community. So I think it's a win-win all around. Like from an economic development point of view, I think it's a win-win. I think the sport, it seems like it's a little bit more gentle than tennis, from what I can observe. I think they say it's a hybrid between badminton, ping pong, and tennis. Those are the sports I think it somehow is like a hybrid of. So I think probably, sometime in the not too distant future, people like you and me will end up trying it.
I don't know. I try to resist things that are popular just because they're popular. I tend to do that sort of thing. I'm also more of a racquetball kind of guy. I'd much rather stick with what I know and keep it to that. But yeah, I'm not opposed to it or anything like that. If for people who enjoy it and if it's popular, great. Maybe I'll play it someday. Maybe I won't. But I don't just jump in on things that are popular because they're popular. No, I'm not that way at all.
I think it's gone past faddish. I think it's moved into more mainstream. So, maybe you can try it now. Speaking of swinging into things, we also just wanted to, with whatever time we have left today on the radio, I wanted to talk about something that's not on this side of the river, but that is relevant to the region and is also relevant in a sense to the village of Haverstraw and Ossining. The village of Ossining, have a sort of symbiotic relationship. With the ferry, there are folks on the ground who are trying to increase the number of weeks that the ferry operates, so as to have that kind of tourism thing, become more developed and sort of both sides of the river enjoying what the other has to offer. That is just context to talk about a story that we wrote about the something called the Sing Sing Prison Museum. It finally took its initial, not groundbreaking, but wall breaking at the old Opera House on Main Street in the village of Ossining. This is a project some 3 to 4 decades in the making. The idea is to have a space that looks at the Sing Sing and its artifacts and its history, but I think more importantly, as it's been explained to me, a more current day look and discussion at the penal system. The museum is going to, as I said, be housed in a portion of this old opera house. It's also going to have other cultural elements to it, and it's about 0.7 miles away from the actual Sing Sing Correctional Facility down by the Hudson River. This is, a project that the folks over there have been very excited about. They recruited some real heavy hitters in terms of grants and people, involved in historical. They've named they've got this gentleman named Brent Glass, who's the museum's executive director, and he was a consultant. He's a consultant and a former director of the National Museum of American History at the Smithsonian in D.C. And why I mention that is because it's never easy to put together a small museum. It's usually done out of a real place of passion, real determination, a vision that usually a small group of people have, and it takes a lot to get, as he has been able to do, a sort of opening endowment to get a small museum up and going. So this is going to be an interesting project. It'll probably open around October, and they will have some possible connection, I think, to being able to show some of the. There's an old original cell block in the prison, and they're talking about doing some tours down there. But this will be a self-contained museum, where the programming and the exhibits will be right there on site. And it's also coinciding with, I don't know if you've seen or heard about the current movie that's up for an Oscar called Sing Sing, which is all about a group of incarcerated men who use theater and art to find, whatever peace or forgiveness or whatever it is. I haven't seen this movie, but it's also coinciding with the opening of this museum. So there's a lot of buzz around this, and I think it's an interesting project. And I think in some way it relates to us over here in Rockland County because one, it's an interesting study on how to do a small museum. We have a couple of small museums here in this county too, and two, because of, again, as I said, the relationship between the village of Haverstraw and Ossining, having this sort of like, sort of sister relationship. So check that out too. I think it's really interesting.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time as always. Check it out, rcbizjournal.com for email newsletters and daily news changed all the time. Thank you, Tina. Have a great week.
You too, guys.